What is up, MTG Unlimited? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing some deck tech, and we're going to be doing none other than Kaalia of the Vast. This is my favorite deck. This is my bling deck. This is my kind of go-to deck that I like to play a lot because I just love to play all the cards inside it. Let's try to get that girl out of that glare. We'll try to go through this pretty quick. If you've seen any other Kaalia deck techs, you're going to see probably a lot of similar cards. There's just some great staples you could have in these colors. And I have those staples, and some players may have different cards and some players may have other different cards. I love dragons, so it's a little dragon heavy, but I decided to do a little mixture of both. So I have angels, dragons, and demons in this deck. Another theme that I kind of went with and I really like to play with is I have a lot of counter spells in this deck, and you're thinking counter spells, no blue, but I have the weird, quirky counter spells that are in these colors. And I really enjoy them because they've come to save my butt, and I like to be able to stop people from doing what they're trying to do from time to time, and I think it's really crucial. I think this deck is pretty competitive. I would probably rate it, I would at least give it an 8. It might even be a 9. I think it's got some pretty powerful cards, and if you play it correctly, if you're an experienced player, you might even be able to make it better. So the player does matter, and we'll just go through it really quickly, and we'll go over the reasonings I have. There she is. This is the Double Masters 2022 foil. I do have the Double Masters full art foil, but this playmat is the one I play with, so I wanted to match the playmat. Plus, this is the one I started with, so I'm really happy with that artwork. I think it looks really cool. The other Kaalia is in my Dragon deck, so she is being used. Okay, let's first start. I have the tutors. I have Enlightened Tutor, which this one's been making kind of a move financially. I really do enjoy this tutor with because you can pull enchantment or artifact. So we like to pull our Jeweled Lotus, or maybe even our Dragon Tempest that gives all our flying creatures haste. Plus, or I can pull any of my artifact equipment cards. So this is really useful. Or sometimes I pull, if it's early game, I tend to pull Esper Sentinel out so I can get that continuous card draw early game. I have all the big tutors in this deck. Tutors just help you keep your deck very regular and consistent. You can get your consistent big hitters out. So I've got Vampire Tutor. I've got this beautiful Demonic Tutor, Double Masters, Commander Masters foil, full art foil, and then I have this beautiful Imperial Seal. The video where I pull this should be coming out fairly shortly, so if you want to see that video, it's one of the best Double Masters 22 boxes I've ever opened, and I've opened several. So we got the big tutors there, all 3 big tutors, and this tutor. So we have 4 tutors, but I also have some other creature cards that I will point out along the way that also tutor. So I have a lot of tutoring in my deck. Like I said, I think it helps make your deck consistent, and it's helped me a lot. Okay, so this is one of the big cards in my deck. This gives all my flying creatures haste, and if it's a dragon creature, it can do some direct damage if I cast it with this out. It's only 2 mana. It's like a automatic staple hit in any Kaalia deck, I believe, is Dragon Tempest. It's only 2 card. And this is one of my utility cards. That's what we're getting into right now, is the utility cards. Fork, this is from Revised. Obviously, you can copy any source of your instant. It can really help you in a lot of sticky situations. And you could also fork Jessica's Will, get a lot of mana. There's just a lot of utilities with this. If the right scenario and the right connection can really make something combo and really pop off. This is like setting up game winning type of things. Another of my utility cards is Bola Citadel. This is a very powerful card. Obviously, most players know this card. If you get this out, I can pay life, draw that to the top of my deck, and within sometimes 1 turn, 2 or 3 turns, if this stays out on the board, you could just start to take over the game, especially with all the power cards that are in this. Now we're going to go into my counters. This is what I'm talking about. Withering Boon. This is a black counter spell. Obviously, it only works on creatures. It's pay 3 life, counter target summon spell, but you can just counter creatures. Counted this guy's commander last week, and his commander was really powerful, so it really annoyed him. And then the next time he brought it out, I destroyed it, and it just really helped me control that player because his whole deck works through his commander, so I was able to really neutralize him, partly starting with that card. This is not a direct counter spell, but deflecting SWAT obviously can change the direction of a spell, basically countering their move. Can be very powerful. Obviously, it could be a free spell if you have your commander out. The glare on this is just really bad. Can I do anything about that? Let me see if I can switch the light option. That's worse. None of them. No, that's just, it is what it is. Just change the angle of this a little bit. No, sorry guys, we're just gonna have to deal with it. Fortunately, that's not, it's so bright on these sleeves. Okay, going into Mana Tithe here. I just gotta center it up here. Obviously, this is a counter spell, but it's not. It's only cost 1, which is good. But if they pay 1, they can avoid the counter. You use this when they tap out, and they usually do tap out with a really big spell, or they're trying to make a move to win the game. So this does come in handy more often than you might think, even though it only costs 1. In fact, I used it last week in a different game, and it stopped the guy from basically winning the game because he tapped out to pull this creature out late game where he would have really had a super control in the game, but I stopped that and was able to win that game. Well, it went to time, but basically I had the advantage. I would have won if it would have won another turn or so. Imp's Mischief, I have this redirect spell. Again, not a total counter spell, but it works against counter spells because you can redirect their counter spell to Imp's Mischief. So it is like a counter to a counter in black. Now we're going into the card draw. We have Sign in Blood, kind of a black card draw staple. And then we have the white card draw staple, Smothering Tithe. It's kind of, if you're playing white, you just, I mean, this is almost an auto include. Obviously not in every deck. Obviously we have the Esper Sentinel, which I mentioned earlier, that we can tutor with the Enlightened Tutor or any of these other tutors. I usually try to tutor for him early game if I can. And I have another creature that does that too, which we will bring up later. So we're in the utility creatures. I'm going to try to move these over so everyone can see and remember what we've talked about along the way. Also card draw, Knight's Whisper. Where's the other? Oh, this is all card draw. Knight's Whisper, same thing as Sign in Blood, but it's a black and another. Very similar thing. We've got our first recursion spell on Earth. We can bring back Esper. We can bring back a lot of the other utility creatures I'm going to show you later on, and we could with it because you could bring, or it's a cycling, so it's a card draw as well. So that's why I have it here right near the card draw. So this is a very good Double Masters 22 full art foil. We have Persist, so it's a non-legendary creature. Gets a -1/-1 counter, but it comes directly to the battlefield. Great recursion right there. And now we're getting into protection spells. I've got a Korma's Will. I use this to really take a nice control of the game. Obviously, if you have a commander out, you could do both modes and really make a big turn with that one. We have the Ultimate Protection and Teferi's Protection. Again, a white staple. This has saved my butt too many times to count. Another white protection staple is Flawless Maneuver. Kind of same thing, kind of akin to a Korma's Will. If you have your commander, it could be a free spell. So another part of those free spell cycles. Okay, now we're going to get into a removal. We've got a Lightning Bolt here. 1 cost, 3 damage. Pretty standard top removal. We got Anguished Unmaking. Again, this is an exile card. You lose 3 life, but you can exile any permanent. Very strong. We got to Terminate. Destroy them. They can't regenerate. I know there's better removal out there. Really like the artwork. Plus the fact that they can't regenerate has come into play for me a lot. Believe it or not, we got to Vindicate, destroy target permanent. So you can destroy land, destroy Planeswalker. Got a lot of versatility there. And then we got Death Bore, which is obviously, it's a 2 cost, sorcery speed, removal, but you could target a creature or Planeswalker, so I like that. Plus, this is kind of like my Bleen deck. I really like the art of this. So this is one that goes in there, but it might not necessarily be the best. We have artifact removal and vandal blast, and you can do the overload and destroy all your opponent's artifacts. This is really good if they have like a lot of treasures or something. Then we have the kingpin of all removal. We got farewell. Obviously, it's got those 4 modes. You can choose them all at once, or you can just pick and choose. Very versatile. 6 costs, a little high, but you basically can totally change the game with this. I've heard there's a lot of blowback on this card. A lot of people saying it's too strong and it just destroys games or whatever. But there's just times where the board's out of hand and how you farewell and you're back in the game. I guess got a blasphemous act here, red removal. Obviously, does 13 damage, costs less for how many creatures on the board. So obviously, there's mass creatures. We're gonna get our equipment here. We got Swiftfoot boots. We got Mithril Coat, which is kind of cool. Haven't really used this card to its full advantage yet. This is one of the cards that would probably be on the chopping block if I wanted to move or add more, because I already have Swiftfoot boots and the next card I'm going to show you. But it does have flash. It is indestructible itself, and it makes your creature indestructible if it's a legendary creature, which obviously I would use this with Kaalia. Got Lightning Greaves, the basically one of the best equipments. 0 equipped, haste giver. Then we got Conqueror's Flail, which you get +1 for each color permanent you control. So with Kaalia, it would get +3/+3. And then this is kind of like having Grand Abolisher in my deck, which I do not. That's one card that could end up making it in at some point. But this has Grand Abolisher's effect on an equipment where they can't cast spells during your turn. Then this is kind of would be under the protection, but one of the ultimate protections, Mother of Ruins. You could tap her. I love this version too. Look at her. She's holding a little baby to her breast and just protecting everything, protecting this rock that's falling and just looking super awesome. This is we're gonna start the utility creatures. This is one of my major utility creatures here. Put her down here at the bottom. Another awesome utility creature, obviously Dockside. We can make a lot of treasures. This is one of the cards that I could tutor with and get Esper Sentinel. This is Ranger Captors of Eos. You could sacrifice it and kind of do that same thing as Grand Abolisher, where the opponents cannot cast cards on your turn or cast spells on your turn. Plus, it can tutor for a card for mana value 1 or less. So I could either do Mother Runes or Esper Sentinel with that one there. We got Urbrass, the Hidden. This is a utility creature. It gives all my creatures haste, and then it makes my creatures or my opponent's creatures come in tapped. So this slows them down, speeds me up, and this is one of my haste enablers. So I've got this. I've got Swift Boots. I've got Lightning Greaves. I have the Tempest up here, and those are all going to give my Kaalia haste, which is very important. And then obviously we got a major utility creature here in Ragavan, the Nimble Pilferer. I like to get this out early game, get some treasures, steal some cards. Pretty cool. We're getting our angels. Okay, this is a protector. It gives me flying lifelink for this creature, and it gives all my other creatures indestructible. It's kind of like the poor man's Platinum Angel, 7/7, so she's a big hitter. Let's just do that right here. We're gonna do a pile of those. Scoot these utility creatures off a little bit. We got Aurelia, the War Leader. I am going to get a little better special version because this is my bling deck. So every card in here is going to be blinged out at some point or another. I just have some base copies of certain ones, but all of them are mostly foil or etched or something really nice. Obviously, she can do a lot of damage. This is one that a lot of players haven't seen, but a lot have. This has saved my butt many a times. In fact, it just saved me this last week where a guy was kind of controlling the board. He had all these double strike creatures, and then I destroyed his whole board by exiling all his attacking creatures when he was about to kill us all. And I made a deal when I saved everybody that they wouldn't attack me for a turn, so it really kind of brought me back in that game. And then we got the big girl here, Avacyn Angel of Hope. I don't think I've had her out for one whole rotation yet. She's a target for removal, but obviously she's very powerful, 8/8, and makes all of your creatures indestructible. And then we got Gisela, kind of kin to Aurelia. You could start getting double damage out there and really doing a lot of damage with her. We have one of our tutoring creatures. So this is a Rune Score Demon. When it enters the battlefield, I can search my library for a card, put it in my hand, and shuffle the library. This is awesome because it's kind of like a demonic tutor where you don't have to show the card either. It is a high casting cost, but with Kaalia, I'm getting him out free like 95% of the time. Kind of an underrated card as far as value wise. I mean, I know it's been reprinted a lot, but so has Demonic Tutor. But Demonic Tutor is 40 something bucks, and this one is not. It's actually probably quite affordable. We got a Blood Gift Demon. This helps me with card draw. This is like a Phyrexian Arena, which used to be in this deck, but now I basically have it in the creature. So kind of, and we just, this was a recent addition, Lord of the Void. This one does a lot of damage, 7/7, big boy, and he steals creatures from other players. Pretty. So we got an Archfield of Despair, makes everything double damage. Even your opponents, when they attack, it's double damage, and it just speeds the game up. And if you hook this up with Aurelia or Gisela, then we're gonna just peoples to start dying. Speaking of people to start dying, we have Master of Cruelties here. Obviously, it's Kaalia staple. This is a one card combo with Kaalia that you can kill someone instantly. It comes in with the first strike damage, drops them to 1, and then Kaalia comes in and finishes the job. I've definitely killed people off that way. And then we just got this big old stompy boy, 9/9, Demon of Deathgate, Flying Trample, and it has an alternative cast cost, which I would never use because I'd never have 3 black creatures on the board. We got the Ancient Brass Dragon from Boulder's Gate. When this puppy gets through, especially after a board wipe, if there's a lot of creatures in the graveyard, you just have an army now, and you stole them from other people. We have another dragon from Boulder's Gate, the Ancient Gold Dragon. This one makes a lot of fairies. They say this is the weakest one, but it really makes your board state really strong. This was the game that I was just talking about. I just played last week. I had this one out. I made 15 Dragon Fairy creature tokens, and basically it was the last round, but I would have won the next turn with those little fairies if they stayed on the board, which they probably were. We got the Hoarding Broodlord. This is from March of the Machines. This also tutors. It tutors a card face down, and then I can cast it, but it also gives that that card Convoke. So it's an easier way to cast it, but you could tutor up something and have it at the ready to cast with Convoke. We got Inferno of the Star Mounds. Obviously, it's kind of a big boy dragon. Flying Haste, so it's a fast one. Spell can't be countered. So this is one that I could probably hard cast. And it has a pump ability. And if you get it to 20, so with like a Jessica's Will or a Dockside or Ancient Copper Dragon, if you have a lot of the treasure tokens, you can get this up to 20. Probably take someone out with it, and then it's going to do 20 damage to another target. And this is kind of like if you really can get it up to that 20, it's kind of a game winner. Sunscorch Regent. This is a really annoying card. It's a small dragon at 4/3 for 5. But I get this out with Kaalia a lot of the times. And whenever an opponent casts a spell, and some people like always read the card, what is every spell? Every spell they cast, I gain a life and it gets a +1 and +1 counter. So I've gotten this up to like a 20 something before, because it gets up real fast, especially if you're playing with someone who has a lot of small creatures who cast multiple spells a turn, and then you're gaining life on top of it. Pretty nasty there. So we got a Hellkite Charger. This is one of my combo pieces. Obviously, if I combo it with my next dragon here, I can really take off, which is this beautiful Ancient Copper Dragon. So this is another dragon from Baldur's Gate. This is one of the biggest dragons, biggest cards in the game as far as dragons go, because every time it does damage, you can roll a d20 and you get that many treasures. This is like, so if you get a minimum of 7 treasures or more, you can just keep doing extra attacks. And if you have just sell it out or someone, basically the game's over very quickly. We have this Bellfire Dragon, another big boy dragon. It can kill off people's boards if it makes contact. And then we got the Skithiryx, the Blight Dragon. Obviously a 4/4 for 5, but it is flying and has Infect. It can regenerate and it can gain haste. I have other haste enablers, but obviously you can start, and it gives me another win con by trying to poison somebody out. And then I have Hellkite Courser, my last dragon, my last creature of this deck. We're about to go in the land cycle. This one's really cool because I can bring Kaalia out. She gains haste, so I could hard cast this guy, get Kaalia out and get another guy and basically have 2 big dragons out on the field in one turn with only, 6 mana. So really good card there. Definitely I have that in my Dragon deck. Let's go ahead and clean up some of these so we have room to put some of the, so this is going to be all my, I'm going to try to go through this quickly here. This is going to be all my ramp cards and lands. So we got Chrome Mox, you know what that is. Obviously ramp, we got Fell Warstone. We got the beautiful Soul Ring. We got an Arcane Signet. We got the big boy Mana Crypt. This video will be up later down the line where I pull this. I opened up one Double Masters 2022, or no, regular Double Masters pack, and I pulled this. This is the card I was going out, and I pulled the Kaalia. This is just a great pack. Love it. We got the Lotus Petal, and we got Jessica's Will. This is where you can really make the game turn, create a lot of mana. And if your commander's out, you get that second mode as well. We got Jeweled Lotus here. This is the frame break, full art, textured, worth about 400 bucks. Was able to pull this one. This is one of the gems in my collection. Beautiful card and very powerful. Got the Command Beacon. This is great for those decks that play that one card in white where you can't cast anything but from your hand. So I'm able to sacrifice this, put Kaalia in my hand, and get my commander going. Because if they shut down Kaalia, I'm in big trouble. Got a basic swamp, but it's a pretty stained glass one. Slayer Stronghold has the ability to give my creature haste and +2/+0. It's one of my land haste enablers. Got a Tri-land. Got Urza Saga in this. This was a recent ad. Haven't really got to play this yet in the deck with her, but obviously this has a lot of abilities, and at the end I can go get a artifact of cost of 0 or 1, so I'll be able to get either my Jeweled Lotus or I think that's it really, right? Is that the or artifact? I get Esper too if I needed to. So the early game I get Esper. This was a recent ad. This is a common, but I like it because Kaalia usually does get destroyed. So if I pull out a second or third time, she gets +1/+1 counters, and it helps me fix my mana. So it's pretty good. We got a Luxury Suite, full art foil. That's good. We got Plaza of Heroes. I've actually never been able to use this, but the concept is there. Basically, I should be able to save Kaalia during a board wipe. And I can add 1 mana to cast legendary spells, which is Kaalia. So this is a mana fixer for me. We have one of my pathway lands. This is really cool. Artwork on both sides is pretty cool. It could be either swamp or plains. You get to choose, so it's very flexible. Got that reflecting pull, helps me fix my mana. We have the Triomes, speak for themselves. Mana fixing scenarios, obviously. We got that full art stained glass. This was a recent ad. This is Recursion at its best. This is a legendary land. It's Volrath Stronghold. It can tap for colorless or one colorless and a not colorless, but 1 generic and a swamp. And I can put a creature from my graveyard on the top of my library. Obviously, you can pull your best creatures back if they destroy them. Vault of Champions comes in untapped. Haunted Ridge, Command Tower, obviously mana fixing. We got the City of Brass, which is mana fixing. Got the stained glass. This is one of my key cards, Hall of the Bandit Lord. Pay 3 life. I can add a mana pool, colorless mana to my mana pool. Obviously, I spend this on Kaalia. She comes out with haste. I actually killed someone with that. Didn't even know what was going on. Got a little dual land there. Fabled Passage to look up those basic lands. I have 1 of each basic land, if you kind of saw along the way. Clifftop Retreat. This is a really cool land that some people really don't know about. It is from Phyrexia All Will Be One. Microsith Gardens. This can basically turn into any artifact on the field, so I can copy one of my really good equipments and give my creatures haste or shroud or whatever, or I could copy my Soul Ring, or I could copy Jeweled Lotus, a lot of the things. Got Rogue's Passage here. Obviously, that's to make Kaalia unblockable, or what's the demon killer guy, unblockable. Can't think of his name right now. Got a little mana fixer in Battlefield Forge. That's kind of like a one that might not make it through some cuts later down the line. Got Caverns of Souls. And this one, you would think you pick, do you pick dragons, angels, demons? I usually pick humans so I can make Kaalia uncounterable. We got another pathway land, Sundown Pass. Got a commander land. Got the mana fixer here. Got another mana, the Dragon Skull Summit. Kind of can come in and tap the most Cave of the Kalios. And then the one fetch land. And the final card in this deck is Arid Mesa. So I can get that plains or mountain out early if I need to. That is it. I hope you really enjoyed it. Please tell me in the comments down below which cards you would probably kick, or which cards you would add, or which cards you thought were cool that you haven't seen in the Kaalia deck as much. I'm not one of those guys that goes on MTG Rec or anything and check what cards are in there all the time. I kind of just I watch other videos and I see what people are playing, and I kind of know what's in my mind, what's good and what goes in the Mardu. But that is all up to me. Thank you for watching. If you made it to the end, go ahead and put those peach emojis in. Remember, this is a brand new channel, so we are looking for subscribers. So remember to like and subscribe. Thank you very much, and always play magic. Bye.